Hello everybody, it's Wendy and I'm here today for Adornable Elements Beads of the Month Club for October. This is the Firepolish Beads of the Month Club, and we're going to make a beautiful necklace and possibly a pair of earrings if we have time. If not, that will be another video, but we're definitely going to do the necklace in this video. So Adornable Elements Beads of the Month, it is a monthly bead club. They have several different clubs. You can sign up for as many as you want, and I do have a coupon code for 10% off of your first box for as many clubs as you want to sign up for. So they've been very generous in allowing 10% off of each club. The first box of each club that you want to sign up for. So I'll have all the information in the description box below the video. You can check it out. I will link the unboxing for this month's club as well. And so here's what you're going to need if you want to make this necklace. Oh, let's do our encouraging word. It's by Jennifer Rockwood. You never know what light you may spark in others just through your kindness and your example. That's a good one. Okay, so if you want to make this necklace, you're going to need a couple pieces of Coriana chain. I do sell this on my website. I have a 22-inch piece and a 23-inch piece here, and you're going to need those. You're going to need this little focal piece. There were 4 of these, I believe, in the box, so I'm using one. And we're going to be using all but one of these paddle head pins right here. So what I've done here is I've taken the paddle head pin, I've put on the blue aqua travertine spiral bead, a bead cap facing down, the coral burgundy Maria round, and I've just created a little dangle for a focal piece. Okay, so you can do that. And then we're going to be using the toggle, the flower toggle. I've got 4 clamshell connectors. Now these are the kind that the chain comes up through the bottom. And I have 4 2mm crimp beads, and we're going to be using those as well. So 4 clamshells, 4 crimp beads, 1 toggle. I've got several different sizes in jump rings here, all different sizes in jump rings, and we're going to be using those as well. I've got some of the oval jump rings and then my jump rings, and then we're going to be using some of the beads just on the chain. I'm using all of the beads in the box except for the white ones, and the reason that I'm not using the white ones is because they have gold on them, and I'm going mainly silver here, so I just didn't want to mix them in with this project. So we're going to be using all of the other beads though. I've got 4 of each type of bead already made up on a head pin as a dangle. I'm going to show you how I did that. I left these 2 to do so you can see how I make my loops. But I have 4 of the drops with the bead caps on them right here. I have 4 of the little turquoise beads. I have 4 of the rondelles, 4 of the 6mm Firepolish, and then we're going to do 4 of these drops. And then these big beads, I've got 3 of each, the travertine aqua and the dark cyan, and they're on these paddle head pins. Okay, so I've done just drops of these on the paddle head pins, 3 of each. Okay, so I think that's everything you're going to need, and your jewelry tools, of course. So first of all, go ahead and make your focal. If you want to do it just like mine, this is how I've done mine. And then I'm going to show you how I make my loops, because you're going to need to do 4 of each bead and 3 of each of the big beads. So 4 of all the small beads except for the white, and 3 of each of the big beads. So here's how I do my loops. I put the bead on a head pin. I come up just above the bead and bend it 90 degrees. Okay. I come about my finger's width here. I like to do small loops, so if you like bigger loops, you can make that piece bigger, but I like them pretty small. And then I take my round nose pliers and I just roll the loop back, just like that. And there's our loop, okay? So one more, 90 degrees. Cut that off. And roll back. Okay, so you're going to need to go make all your dangles. So again, I have 4 of the turquoise drops, 4 of the small turquoise beads, 3 of the big reds on the paddle head pins, 3 of the blue on the paddle head pins, 4 of the burgundy drops with a head or a bead cap, 4 of the rondelles, and 4 of the beautiful coral Maria rounds. Okay, so get all your dangles made and then come on back and we're going to go ahead and put this together. All right, so we have our 2 pieces of Coriana chain, and what we want to do is even them up on the ends so that we get the longest one on the bottom. Okay, so here's my longest one. So I need to hang my dangle on there. Now you have to put your dangle on a jump ring if you're hanging it directly on this chain so it will hang right. We're just going to put it on our longest piece, just like that. Okay? Now, on either side of this one, I'm going to put one of these little blue Firepolish turquoise beads. Okay, just like that. Move them on down, just like that. Now, I'm going to do one of each of these Firepolish. The red one, burgundy one. Just like that. Now in the middle of my top chain, I'm going to put one of these dark cyan beads. And then on either side, one of these little turquoise Firepolish. Just like that. Okay, that's what we've got so far. Up here on the top, I'm going to do one of these rondelles on each side. And down on the bottom, I'm going to do, let's see, do I have a 6mm, let me make sure I'm on the bottom, a 6mm jump ring on each side. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to do 2 of the 8mm jump rings on each side. Just like that. Okay, so we've got some little rings hanging there. And now I'm going to do a 10mm jump ring. And then I'm going to take one of my paddle beads here, or the aqua with the paddle on it, and I'm going to hang it directly on the chain. Just like that. On the other side, I'm going to do, let's see, I'm wanting this to be very eclectic. I don't want it to be symmetrical. I'm kind of wanting it to be random. So I think over here I'm going to do a rondelle like that. Another 6mm jump ring. And then I'm going to do this red right on the chain. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Yep, it's looking cute. Okay, now up here, I'm going to do one of these larger red beads on either chain. If I can get it on there. Just like this. Okay, and then I'm going to do an 8mm jump ring on either side, actually probably 2 of them. Yeah, 2 of these. I have a couple 6mm there too. Okay, I'm going to do the 8mm. A couple of the bigger, the 10mm. And then I'm going to hang one of these guys from one of these jump rings. And I'm sorry for the ringing phone. Chris is working here during the day as well as me. And his job is very loud. A lot of ringing phones and a lot of talking. Okay. Hold this up like this. All right. Now I am going to go ahead, I think I'll do one of the red ones over here onto the second jump ring as well. Or here's the second jump ring. It doesn't really matter which jump ring you do it on. I'm just going to pick one and hang the red one over here, one of these red drops. And what I'm trying to create is just, we're going to do a bunch of dangles, and I know it doesn't look like anything yet, but it will be here in a minute. Okay, so let's work on the bottom for a second because I need to get it caught up with the top. So I'm going to do a couple of these bigger jump rings right here. These are the 10mm. I may end up having to pull more jump rings out. And then I'm going to do a couple 6mm. So the 6mm actually will probably go through the 10mm, so let's not do that. Let's do a couple 8s. And then a couple 6s. Or 1 6. I'm going to do 2 10s, 2 8s, and a 6 on the bottom strand. Okay? So I got my 2 10s there. Here's my 2 8s. And a 6. I'm trying to catch the bottom strand up. The top strand got longer and I don't want it to be, see, it's longer than the bottom strand and I don't want that to be happening yet. Okay, so now, let's see, let's do one of these blue beads on either side, these travertine, they're so pretty, aqua travertine beads. I'm going to do one of those on either side. And then I think directly from the chain, I'm going to hang one of these blue ones, and on the other side I'm going to do the red. So I'm kind of reversing what I did on the top. Okay. And it's going to come together here. All right. I'm going to do a rondelle on either side of my top strand. Like this, and a rondelle on either side of my bottom strand, just like that. Now on the top strand I'm going to do one of my red dangles with the paddle thing underneath, the paddle head pin, and one of my blue ones on the other side. Just like that. Okay. Now, I feel like I need something dangling right here, so I may do 2 of these guys just on the chain there, in between the rondelle and the turquoise bead. I think I'm just going to hang them right on the chain because I feel like it needs something there dangling. Let's do this one on the other side. Right here. Okay. Okay, now it's looking good. Now we've got to get my bottom strand needs to be longer than my top strand. So I'm going to take one of these little fire polish beads and put on each end of my top strand, kind of to give it a little finishing. And then we're going to work on the bottom strand mainly. That just kind of gives it a little end look there. Okay. Now let's go down here. So get your top strand out of the way. Okay. So bottom strand, let's go ahead and let's see. What do I have here? I need to use these guys. So I think I'm going to take this one. I'm using an 8mm jump ring here. And I'm going to grab right here just in the middle of these jump rings. It doesn't really matter which one. It can be random. Like I said, I'm not doing any certain pattern here. And I'm going to hang him down from that. I'm just trying to create a little more interest over here and a kind of a cascading effect. And then I'm going to take this blue one and I'm going to do the same thing on this side over here. Just grab one of these jump rings and hang him down. Okay, just like that. And I know I'm picking it up a lot to look, but I just want to see how it's looking. And it is looking good. It's going to get to where we want it to be. I don't really want this jump ring traveling down here, though. Why is he? I may have to move him. Don't want you traveling down there. Let's move you up here. There we go. That's better. Okay. All right, now, scoot these up a little bit. Okay, let's do a red fire polish on each side here of the bottom strand. I'm just working on the bottom strand right now. So one of these red fire polish on each side. And then, I don't want to do these last two yet. They need to wait a few minutes. Let's do one of these red beads on either side. The big red ones. There we go. And I think in between these two, I need to do a couple dangles. So let's take an 8mm jump ring. Or let's use some of the oval jump rings that came in the box. Let me get a couple of those. So take one of the oval jump rings. And I'm going to hook this guy to it, one of these rondelle dangles, and just put it right here in the middle of those two red beads. I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay, and on the other side of the red bead, I'm going to do, I've got a 6mm jump ring here. And I think this is an open 6mm jump ring, or maybe it's a 4, but it's close in size. I'm just trying to get the look of some of the rings out here. Let's get him out of the way. So we'll do this 4mm here. Then I'm going to do a oval one. Let's do an oval one. And then how about a couple of 8s on either side? A couple of 8s. Are these 8s? I think they are. Okay. Okay, then let's see what we've got. We've got a couple more of these little guys He's actually on a jump ring, so I'm going to take the other one and put it on a jump ring. And let's hang them from one of these jump rings. Doesn't matter which one, just pick any of them. So just any of these back here. Okay, and then I'm going to do this red guy dangling straight from the chain. And on this side, I'm going to do the same thing, the red guy dangling straight from the chain. I wish my focal piece would quit twisting up like that. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. Now, we've got these two left, and I want to hang them down from a jump ring. So, let me grab two. Let's do two of the oval jump rings. That would be good. So, do an oval jump ring, and we're going to dangle the blue one down over here and the red one down on the other side. Now, let's do the blue one over here on this side and the red one on the other side. So the blue one on the left, the red one on the right, because I have blue here, so we'll spread that out a little bit. Okay. Looking cute. Okay, so let's see what we've got left. I've got a couple of these left. One red and one rondelle and one of these, or a couple rondelles, one of those. All right, so let's go ahead and grab a couple oval jump rings. And let's see here. How do I want to do it? I think I'm going to go down from this guy and hang one of these red ones. And do the same thing on the other side. So the little turquoise bead, I'm dangling one of the red ones with the bead cap on the same jump ring with the turquoise bead right here. Okay. Perfect. It's looking good. Okay, so let's go up on this side, and on this side I'm going to put this guy. Actually, I'm going to do a rondelle on both sides, so it spaces him out a little bit from the other beads. And then I'm going to do this guy over here. Nope, he needs to go over here. There's too much blue on the other side and too much red over here. So we'll do this guy over here, the blue, and the red over here. Okay. Now when we hold these up, the bottom one is longer than the top one, so that looks better. I may even take a few things off that top one. I don't know if I want it to have that much on it. I don't think I do. Let's go down. Let's go right back to the center here. I know you guys are like, what? This is how I design. It takes me a few minutes. Sometimes I have to take things apart. But I kind of want to keep this top one a little more simple, I think. It was looking a little too much. Okay. So let's do that. Let's put a rondelle on each side of this. And I think we may keep this very simple here and not do a whole lot. And have the bottom be more... Yeah, that looks better. It really does. Okay. Alright, so let's work some more on this bottom. We're going to leave that like that. I may put a few rings here. I think I should. So I'm going to get a couple of the oval jump rings. I'm going to put one on each side. And the reason I'm using them is because they're small and they won't come over this bead here. And then I need a couple 6mm jump rings, or 4s. Let's see what we've got here. Here's a couple 6s that will work. One on this side, one on this side. And then I can do a couple of the 8s, so they won't swallow up. They won't go back over the beads is what I'm trying to accomplish, is keeping them from doing that. So the 8s right there. Okay. And now I'm just going to put another small, actually I may even do a 10 over here, just to give it enough of the look of the way the bottom is too. I want it to tie in. So let's do the 10 here, and then back to a couple of these guys. Or actually, I would need to go back 8s and then back those. So let's do an 8. And then the oval. Okay. That should keep them all fairly in their places. Not really, it's not, but let's do a rondelle on each side here. And then a little blue one, and I think the little turquoise, and I think that'll make that look better. It'll make it look more minimal, because I really want the bottom to have the most, but I do want them to match. I want them to tie in together, if that makes sense. Why won't you go on there? Okay. So yeah, then I think when you hold this up, it's going to look better. Yeah, it does. The bottom just didn't need as much. It's very southwestern looking. Okay, so now we've got these that we need to get on this bottom strand for the most part. So let's do this. Let's do one of our big aqua beads on each side. This guy on here and over here. And that's going to allow me to hang this red one over here and this blue one over here. Looking good. And then this red one over here right onto the chain. And this blue one over here right onto the chain. Perfect. Okay. And then I'm going to do these little tiny guys right onto the chain. And a rondelle. So tiny guy here. And rondelle. Oh, he's on a jump ring. Let's get him off of there. You don't need that jump ring. You're going directly on the chain. Okay. Looking really cute. And then we're going to top it off with, actually I don't know that I need that red bead. I may just go right for the little tiny bead. And that may be enough. Tiny bead there. Just look up tiny bead over here. Let's get that out of the way. All right, and I think that that's going to look really good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our ends and match them up on both sides, and then hold your necklace up and make sure that that's how you want it to hang. So my middle here, I want to count a little bit higher. So I'm just going to take this inner chain and cut just a little bit off, like a 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to even them back up and hold it up again, because I don't want to cut off too much, but I don't want my middle chain hanging quite that low. And again, and I'm going to have to put some crimp beads on my middle chain. I can see that already, to get these to hang in the right place. But I am going to take just a little bit more off of the middle chain. Another 1/2 inch maybe. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the middle of it. Oh shoot. Help if I had the right chains. Oh my goodness, I'm getting all mixed up here. Okay, so I'm going to find the middle of it like this. Get it down there to where it's exactly in the middle, and I'm going to put a crimp bead on each side and crimp it down. And I'm not crimping to crimp like with my pliers, you know, like you're crimping 2 pieces of bead stringing wire together. All I'm doing is crimping to hold these beads in place. So if you just let that crimp bead fall, barely smash it down like that, and then it's just going to hold the beads where they need to be on the strand, and they won't be rolling around all over the place, and your necklace will look right. So just make sure that you don't crimp so hard that it would cut the chain, because you can actually do that. You could crimp hard enough to where it would just cut your chain, and you don't want that, but you do want your beads to kind of stay, you know, in one place. So this is the way that I do this, just to keep them from sliding around too much. And that crimp bead just holds them right there, and it doesn't, that's all it does. So you're going to need to pull out 2 more crimp beads, because I just used those for that. So now we're going to crimp our, we're going to finish our ends. So if I hold this up now, it's probably pretty much where I want it to hang. Yep. And you want to put your ends together. And I'll have to even this one out a little because it's crooked too. Okay, so this one I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my ends together, and I'm going to scoot it around to where it's at the middle. And it needs to go around quite a ways. You want it to be, you know, to be hanging in the middle. You don't want this to be crooked when you put it together, your clasp on and stuff. Okay, so still needs to go this way just a bit. Okay, now that's pretty much even, so I'm going to do the same thing as I did on the other side. I'm going to take a crimp bead, just let it drop, and you do want to kind of lay this out, and you want these to have a little movement, not a whole lot. You want it to be even, but you want them to have just a tad bit of movement because you don't want them to be poker straight. Whoops. And I'm just going to crimp that little bead down. Okay? And that's just going to hold that in place. So we're going to have to pull out 4 more crimps because I didn't anticipate having to do that, but the necklace was just getting too wild. It was going everywhere, and it wasn't looking even and symmetrical like it's supposed to. Okay, so see, if you crimp those down, it just kind of holds everything so that they don't fly all over the place. All right, so pull out 4 more crimps because you're going to need to put our closure on. And the reason I'm not using the crimp tubes that they sent is because those are really nice quality crimp tubes, and I want to save them. These crimp beads are going to be under this clamshell connector. You're not even going to see them, so there's no point in using your good ones. So now we're just going to take our clamshell. Oh, actually, what we do need to do is hold this necklace up on ourselves and make sure that you like where it hangs, okay? Because if you want it to be shorter, you need to shorten it now. So put the ends together and hold it up. Mine's pretty good. I like where it's hanging. And if you need to cut some off, you can. So now we're just going to insert this through here, through the middle of the clamshell, I'm going to put my crimp bead on here, just like this. And I'm just, again, this is just to hold the clamshell cover on. It is not to crimp together two pieces of wire, so you don't have to crimp correctly on this. You just have to mash this little crimp bead down. Okay, so we're going to come up here to the end, not to the very end, or it will cut the wire. You just want to go down just a tad bit, pull up your clamshell and close it, just like that. And it's a good professional looking little closure, and it's secure. Okay, so we're going to do this one same way. I'm going to do all four of them like this, and then we're going to put our closure on. Okay, there you go. Just crimp it down. You can give it a tug test to make sure that it's good and solid, but I've never had a problem with these coming undone. And then just close your clamshell up and do these two. Same thing. Okay. Tug test. It's not coming undone. It's good and crimped. And then just close that up. And last one. It would help if I could find the the little hole in there. Okay. Crimp it flat. Give it the tug test. It's not coming open or off, and just close your clamshell. Okay, so now what you need to do is make sure your bottom chain's on the bottom and your top chain's on the top. Okay, we're going to take one of these little jump rings. Let's see, I'd probably like to use a smaller. Maybe go with your 6mm. Okay, 6mm. And I'm going to put the bottom strand on the bottom and the top strand on next. And I'm going to close this up. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Bottom strand on the bottom, top strand next, close it up. Okay, now when you pick this up, it should hang just like that. Okay, very good. Now we're going to put our toggle on. Make sure you keep these, that you don't twist this up, that you keep the bottom on the bottom and the top on the top. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is take my little oval jump rings. I'm going to hook my toggle ring on with one, and my toggle bar I'm going to hook on with two. So we've got our toggle ring right here. Okay. And the reason I hook the toggle bar on with two is just to give it plenty of room to be able to get through this ring. Because if these things behind the bar stop it from going through the ring, then you're not going to be able to use your toggle. I've done that, found that out the hard way a few times. You always want to make sure that you give your toggle bar enough room past whatever you're working on to go through your ring. Okay. And it looks like this one would have been fine anyway. It's big enough, but there we have it. There is our finished little necklace. It's very southwestern style. I like it. Let's go ahead and put it on a form. Okay, so here is the finished product, and I really like the way this turned out. I think it's pretty cool. These colors are just so pretty, and it's so kind of southwestern boho. It's really cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will have earrings coming up to match this. I just haven't, we didn't have time in this video to get to them. So stay tuned for that one. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do, and ring the bell so you know when I upload that video. I will put all the information for Adornable Elements Beads of the Month Club in the description box below this video. So check them out, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.